The Quran provides us with comprehensive justice. If we internalize its wisdom in its entirety, that's justice. Secondly, what anti-Muslims do, and I said anti-Muslim because I don't just mean non-Muslims, I mean people who are actively against Islam. What these people do is they take some verses out of context, they present it, ignore the rest of the Quran, the rest of the Hadith, and they say, look, Islam promotes slavery. And this is wrong. This is wrong. Islam actually promotes the freeing of enslaved people. Assalamu alaikum, my name is Grace, also known as Gigi. Today I've just randomly decided I'm gonna make another video. At the end of my revert story, I got asked quite a few questions, so I'm just gonna answer some of those. So the first one is, how have I accepted what Islam has to say about slavery? This is a really heavy question, and it was asked by a fellow revert sister, mashallah. But I just want to say that if you're having doubts about the religion, please speak to a scholar, a mufti, an imam, a sheikh, someone of knowledge. I am not an Islamic scholar, however I will answer the question as it pertains to me. So first of all, as soon as I realized that the Quran is the word of Allah, this necessitates that I believe that every claim that the Quran makes is truth. So even if what the Quran and the Ahadith have to say about slavery is not the same as what the current popular ideas of justice are, this does not mean that the Quran is unjust, right? Subhanallah. The Quran provides us with comprehensive justice. If we internalize its wisdom in its entirety, that's justice. Secondly, what anti-Muslims do, and I said anti-Muslim because I don't just mean non-Muslims, I mean people who are actively against Islam. What these people do is they take some verses out of context, they present it, ignore the rest of the Quran, the rest of the Hadith, and they say, look, Islam promotes slavery. And this is wrong. This is wrong. Islam actually promotes the freeing of enslaved people. So one of the 5 pillars of Islam is zakat, charity. So it's foundational to the religion. It's one of the pillars of the religion. And to free an enslaved person is a form of zakat. So if I free an enslaved person, then not only is that an act of worship, not only is that a good deed, but I would be fulfilling one of the most fundamental obligations. And we're also commanded to free enslaved people if you've done something evil. Okay, so if you've sinned, you've done something evil, freeing an enslaved person is a highly valued good deed to balance out the evil you have done with your bad deeds. So the people who suggest that slavery is like integral to Islam or that it's promoted in Islam are very, very mistaken. As you can see, it's the freeing of enslaved people which is encouraged, and it's hence the abolishment of this practice which is encouraged. Thirdly, Islam actually does prohibit the capturing of an innocent person and selling them for money. And that's probably the type of slavery that comes into your mind. It's what comes into my mind when I first heard the word, and it's because I think of the transatlantic slave trade. It was terrorism against African people, where they were kidnapped from their homes as free innocent people, kidnapped from their homes and tortured for the sake of profit. And this is not allowed in Islam. There is a hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I will oppose 3 types of people on the day of resurrection, and one of those is a man who sold a free man and consumed his price. So please deep that. Every European involved in the transatlantic slave trade, I mean, Allah knows best and Allah is the most merciful, but it's looking peak for them on the day of judgment. Like seriously, it's khalas for them. Allah will deal with them. So yeah, the type of slavery that comes to mind when you first hear this word is probably this type, and this is explicitly prohibited in Islam, as you can see from the hadith. And so finally, the only time in which you can lawfully capture someone and enslave them in Islam is when you're in battle and you capture a member of the opposition. So it's permissible to capture prisoners of war. And some might say, oh, that's backwards, that's barbaric. But I reject the notion that complete pacifism is a marker of virtue, right? Sometimes you need to put pacifism to the side in favor of justice. A lot of people, my old self included, will go around saying things like, oh, Islam is a religion of peace. Islam means peace. This is well intentioned, and while it's true in some aspects, I mean, in your personal worship, you should 100% be cultivating a sense of inner peace. However, it's also a religion of justice. We don't let man take us for idiots. But if someone is oppressing you, the same way that the Quraysh oppressed the first generation of Muslims, then 100% you are well within your rights to get your justice, to go to battle and get your justice. I mean, it's a form of self-defense. If someone had been oppressing me or was just an outright enemy of Allah, then I see no problem with my being able to go into battle with them and my being able to capture them and enslave them if I so wish. So yeah, I accepted what Islam has to say about slavery principally because I believe that the Quran and the Hadith are truth. And even though I have come across these misconceptions that anti-Muslims push, once I dug deeper into the Islamic position, I realized that this is intuitive and makes sense. So another question I got, a bit more of a light-hearted one, was how my family reacted when I told them that I'm Muslim now. So I cannot remember the precise time that I told my mum and my sister. I mentioned, like, when I was learning about it, like, oh yeah, I'm learning about Islam, I feel really pulled to like learn more about it. And they thought, oh, that's a bit random, but okay, like, do you? A few more months went by and I was just like, yeah, so I'm Muslim now. And it was kind of normal because they'd seen my process of me learning about it. Both my mum and my sister, bless them, they did feel the need to clarify, like, you're not being like radicalized on the internet. But hey, media conditioning runs deep, government propaganda runs deep, and from my mum and my sister, I know that those questions came from a place of genuine love and compassion. They just wanted to make sure that me being Muslim was what I wanted, what was genuine and authentic for me. And once they realised that it is, they've been so supportive. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful for my family. They often ask me questions, like my sister, she ordered herself a Quran just to like read through because she was really curious. She asked me to show her how we pray. Oh my gosh, my nephew. So I was praying Salah and my nephew, who is 6 years old, came into the room and wanted to tell me something. He was like, Gracie, Gigi. He was trying to tell me something. But obviously once she was doing a Salah, like if I would have broken off to speak to him, I would have had to start my Salah again. So I just sort of like ignored him and tried to like keep my focus on my prayer. But he was just so shocked that I was ignoring him and I was in this like weird trance and I'm like bowing on the floor and stuff. So he's like, Gracie, what are you doing? And he had a Nerf gun and because I wasn't answering him, he shot me. He shot me whilst I was praying. But I explained after, like, I'm Muslim, this is how Muslims pray. And he was like, oh, I learned about that in school. So I was like, okay, well, you could have remembered that before you shot me with the Nerf gun, but okay.